The Andromeda PLM experience. Well, joining us today to speak about that, Yvette Vink, Director of ERP and Operations at Fall Rush by Follett. Yvette, welcome.
Thank you, Russell.
Yvette, if anybody out there is not entirely familiar with Fall Rush by Follett, walk us through for that just a moment or two. Tell us, what is that company all about? What's the space it operates in?
Well, we'll talk first about Follett. Follett, the parent company, has been in the college bookstore space since the late 1800s. So if you've bought a textbook in America or gone to school here, you bought a textbook from Follett. They're the largest privately owned company in America. Fall Rush is their private label division. So we have 1,200 college campus bookstores, and my team is tasked with actually creating, manufacturing the apparel that goes into the bookstores that is branded for Follett, called Fall Rush.
Seems to me over the years, not only have I offloaded a lot of cash on my own for some of those products, but for my child as well. Well, it's good to have you here with us. I want to talk with you about the company's relationship with NGC and the Andromeda product lifecycle management solution. But let's just back up for a moment or two. Prior to that relationship coming together, how are things there at Fall Rush by Follett? How would you characterize things before this relationship began?
Well, when I was first hired by Follett to run their Fall Rush division, I discovered they didn't have systems at all. So in order to scale to 1,200 stores, I needed a system that can manage the product lifecycle from development all the way through production and then in-store delivery, as well as a sales channel for e-com. When I got there, everyone was working on Excel spreadsheets. So if you can imagine trying to track thousands and thousands of pieces of art that are college specific through Excel spreadsheets and Dropboxes, it was impossible to scale. So in very short order, I had to find a solution that was going to get us to a place where we could manufacture and control our art space within one solution and off of Excel.
What I can imagine is that is a fairly complex supply chain operation that you're talking about there, and not having the kind of solution that you needed at the time must have been challenging indeed.
It was challenging. In order to find vendors, we had to make sure they were compliant with the FLA, which is the Fair Labor Association. That requires vendor compliance software. In order to track your vendors where they are in the compliance process, we had none of that. We were doing that through Excel. And then through the supply chain, we have to create something called a tech pack. That's basically a blueprint for creating a garment. And so even if we're just creating a t-shirt or a hoodie, and it happens to have certain embellishments on it, maybe a zipper or little drawstrings that come down with metal clips, every single piece of that garment had to be sourced in a responsible way through the Fair Labor Association standards. So then we had to go out to market to create these tech packs to find vendors that could actually create these garments and then actually go out and manufacture these products. So every step of the way we had to track manufacturing, sourcing, production, and development. And that's the stage we were in when I started. They had already started that, and that's why they were on Excel spreadsheets. So there was problems with our vendors because they didn't understand what our blueprint was. It wasn't in a standardized format. The image quality was not good because they were trying to save them real quick as JPEGs or files that were not readable by them. And they were not really in one language, if you were, a manufacturing language. So we had to standardize language. We had to need a place to store that standardized language with pictures so the manufacturers could see how they should put together our garments. And the only way to do that is through a software solution, because we had a small agile team. And I needed to get this up and running really quickly. So I needed to find a software that was able to implement in microphases. And many solutions want to do what I call the Big Bang Theory. You discover, you configure, you test out the theory, and then you launch an entire product. I had to do those in microphases. Oh, we need to store images. I need the imaging database. We need to create tech packs. I need the tech pack database. And that's exactly what we did, is we launched in microphases.
Before we talk about the specifics of the solution that NGC brought to this relationship, let's talk about the vetting process itself. Presumably, you must have investigated a number of potential providers. What led you to a relationship with NGC?
Well, I created an RFP, or a request for proposal, with all of the details that were needed from planning all the way through execution and in-store product. Several tabs with an Excel spreadsheet. I sent those out to several vendors for a product lifecycle management and sourcing control management systems. All of those had the opportunity to respond to the RFP. Not all decided that they would, because an integral piece that I needed between our systems was interfacing. I needed to be able to have our PLM and sourcing system talk to other systems. It had to interface. It was a requirement. I have quite a few interfaces that have to be done. Luckily, NGC Andromeda was one of many that came back. There were several leaders in the industry. Each leader was given the same information packet so that they could set up their systems. They were allowed to have interview phone calls with myself and the team to glean any information that they didn't get in the discovery docs that we had sent each of them. So each vendor was given a fair chance. Actually, one vendor whose software is really easy on the eyes, they just couldn't nail the actual execution of what we needed for calendaring and sourcing production tracking. But they had 5 demos to try to come across to the team that they could be the solution. Luckily, with Andromeda, it only took 1 demo, and the team was able to see exactly what they needed. But it was rather quick. I was able to do the RFP and the demo analysis within 6 weeks.
Well, it sounds to me like that was a fairly comprehensive approach that you took and gave any number of potential providers a fair shot at working with you. Let's talk now about NGC. Let's talk about the Andromeda solution. Just what does it bring to the party, if you will? What is it doing for you?
Well, currently we have implemented what's called MODA, which is where we store all of our digital images. So now we have a catalog of images that has metadata behind it. So if I need to know how many graphic designs I've created for a particular store, school with their mascots on it, all I have to do is type in maybe the store number, the school name, their license number, and instantly all the images pop up, and I'm not having to hunt through different drop boxes. And if I can't open a Dropbox, if I don't have access to a Dropbox, you're able to give access through the PLM system in MODA. So my vendor that actually does my production art scaling comes into the system, picks up what they need in order to create new production art, and drops it back off into one of the MODA folders, where my then back office picks it up and then attaches it to a body. So all of my styles are now in the system. Here's what's exciting about that. The tech packs are standardized. I have a blueprint on how to create that t-shirt, how to create that hoodie. I can now counter source. I'm also able to track the samples so that I don't have to wonder anymore where the samples are, which sample I'm on. Was this approved? Was it not approved? I know exactly which vendor has an approved sample. All of that before was people looking on their phones. Oh, I have a WhatsApp message from this person. Oh, I think it was on this email chain. Oh, maybe it was on this email chain. I couldn't find information, and we were given misinformation to vendors, and that was really, they were struggling with us. And we were losing vendors that didn't want to work with us because we weren't consistent with our message to the vendors. In addition to that, we put all of our bill of materials in the system. All of our components are in the system. So we have a database of components, of colors, an art library, which is a more robust database system around the graphics. And then we just had delivered a licensing module. I collaborated with the Andromeda team, technical team, and we wrote a module that will help people that deal in the licensing space to track licenses and attach those to entities within the system. Where previously we didn't have a way to track it, and we were writing orders or producing product for schools that we had yet to get licensed. And that's a problem because you get in trouble with that.
Sounds to me like this is a relationship that is really going somewhere. Yvette, I know you're busy here at the conference, but you found time to speak with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
It's Yvette Vink, Fall Rush by Follett, speaking with us today about the Andromeda PLM experience. Thank you for watching.